project that's going to be worth 128 billion dirhams. That's $35 billion. So quite a massive investment into the Dubai economy and the aviation infrastructure.
Hi, I'm Sarah Forster, News Editor here at The National, and thank you for joining me for this week's episode of A Closer Look. Now, there's one thing that we know that residents in the UAE love hearing about, and that is mega projects. Another one was just announced this week. It is a brand new airport in Dubai, and because of that, we've asked our aviation correspondent, Dina Kamel, to come down and talk to us. Dina, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
So, first of all, let's just, in case anyone hasn't heard it already, reveal the news about this new airport.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was announced over the weekend, and in typical Dubai style, they announced what will be the world's largest airport when it is completed in 10 years' time from now. This is going to be a new airport terminal at Maktoum International Airport, which is also dubbed DWC. This is going to be a massive expansion. The current facility that exists right now is only 26 million passenger capacity.
Okay.
With the new airport terminal and the major expansion project there, this is going to be up to 150 million passengers per year. So that's a massive capacity, and that's only in phase one. The final phase, when it's finished, will be 260 million passenger capacity per year. So you can only imagine the size and scope of this project.
That's so many people. That is so many people.
And it's a lot of walking.
It is, I bet. I hope they put those little trains in. That would be very handy. So it's a funny one, isn't it? Because we say it's going to be a brand new airport. It's not, because DWC already exists, so they're going to be making it bigger. And also, these are plans that we've sort of heard of before, right?
Yes, that's correct. So what was announced over the weekend is a project that's going to be worth 128 billion dirhams. That's $35 billion. So quite a massive investment into the Dubai economy and the aviation infrastructure. And while that was announced this week, it is actually a revival of earlier plans that Dubai had. At least 10 years ago, when DWC was first constructed, there were plans to grow the airport into the future airport site of Dubai. It was envisioned from the start as a mega hub. Now, those plans had been postponed, shelved and reshelved over the years for various circumstances, whether in 2008 with the financial crisis, and 2019 as well with a slowdown. And so now these airport plans are being revisited, revamped, revised. For a lot of reasons that we can get into, there is demand for bigger space.
So I guess that's why, when it was originally named, I know it's called Al Maktoum Airport now, but when it was originally named, DWC does stand for Dubai World Central. I did really, they must have really thought it was going to be the central hub of the world for aviation, which it sounds like it might well be. How does it compare to other airports? Because one might say this is a reaction to other airports upgrading. We know neighbour Abu Dhabi has just had a pretty major airport upgrade, and there are others around the world. So tell me, how does it compare, and is it a reaction?
Yes, you are right to point out that there are other cities in the Middle East that are expanding their aviation ambitions. They want to develop their non-oil sectors as a strategy to diversify their economies away from oil, to get revenues from non-oil sources such as aviation, travel, tourism, very lucrative businesses for many cities in the Middle East. We don't have to look too far. As you said, in Abu Dhabi, we've just last year in November seen the opening of Zayed International Airport's Terminal A, of course. That opened to a capacity of 45 million passengers per year. And there's future plans to expand that even further to 65 million passengers per year as a capacity in the next 10 years. So further growth is being stitched into the seams, if you will, of this infrastructure. Further down the road, we're also seeing Saudi Arabia has major ambitions for its aviation sector and the development of travel and tourism to the kingdom. There have been plans announced for the new King Salman International Airport in Riyadh, and that's going to be at a capacity of 120 million passengers by 2030. We're also talking about neighboring Istanbul, which also has plans of its own to accommodate the growth of Turkish airlines. It is going to develop that airport to have a capacity of 200 million passengers per year, which by 2028, and that's up from the current capacity of 95 million passengers currently. And we have spoken to the chief of Dubai Airports, Mr. Paul Griffiths.
Yes.
And we asked him if the plans to develop the DWC terminal was a sort of reaction to these developments in the region and a further way to imprint Dubai on the global aviation map. He was absolutely adamant that this is not the case, that Dubai has set out to sort of ring fence its position as the world's #1 airport by international traffic, which it has been for the last 10 years. And these plans were always built into the DNA of Al Maktoum International Airport many years ago. That was the future vision that the Emirate had for itself.
So, Dina, I mean, one of the main questions here is why? Why do they need to move to a bigger airport?
Right. So basically, Sir Tim Clark, the president of Emirates Airlines, has been pushing for this project for a long time, and the necessary space is needed to accommodate the growth of the home carriers like Emirates and Fly Dubai, to accommodate their ever-increasing fleet, to accommodate their growth plans. By the time this airport is operational, Emirates would have taken delivery of its Boeing 777X, which at the time of its operation, it will be the world's biggest aircraft. So that space is really necessary. Operations right now at DXB are constrained. There is no longer more space. So that is going to be a key part of growth plans.
So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about poor old DXB that's going to become somewhat overshadowed in the next few years. I mean, we've been talking about this. We expect the new Al Maktoum Airport, you know, as they're projecting it, to be ready in about maybe 10 years,
Correct.
right? So what will become of Dubai International Airport, the one that we all know so very well?
Know and love, and is a source
I've spent
of
many hours in.
absolutely, and a source of many memories, good and bad, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
An excellent place for people watching. Obviously, the biggest carriers at DXB are the home carriers, Emirates and Fly Dubai. There's also, dozens of other international carriers that operate from DXB. The plan as it stands right now is the gradual transition, the gradual movement of all airline operations, all passenger operations from DXB to DWC over phases. And that's obviously because you're talking about a massive operation at DXB. We're talking about 120 million passenger capacity. The move is not going to be done at one go. It's impossible logistically. It's a Herculean task.
Yes.
So this is going to be done over phases. And then once the complete transition of airlines passenger operations has been made at Al Maktoum International Airport, the idea is then to shut down DXB to air traffic. So that will no longer be an operational airport. The idea is to have one sole super hub or mega hub at Al Maktoum International Airport. So the plans is for DXB to shut down, and then that gives the city the opportunity to redevelop that really prime real estate in and around the airport and Al Garhoud area of Dubai for redevelopment. So there's going to be a lot more projects to watch out for there, presumably.
So essentially what you're saying is that DXB will be no more, right? They're going to slowly transition every airline, every service, everything out of DXB, and it will be turned into turned into something else, right?
That is correct. That is the information and the insight that we received from Mr. Paul Griffiths when we spoke with him following the announcement, and he was saying that DXB will be shutting down to air traffic, and there will be redevelopment plans around that area. So that's in 10 years, so it almost feels like the end of an era. I have been in the UAE since the 1980s.
Do you know what this?
And this is almost an emotional end.
Do you know what this will
project.
do? This will just spawn another generation of UAE residents who talk about. I remember I was here with the old airport. When I came, we were at the old airport, and new people go, oh, "The old airport? Tell me more."
That's
and
right.
Then,
back in my day.
Exactly. Amazing. So, just to finish off, you mentioned that obviously you spoke to Paul Griffiths, the head of Dubai Airports. Now, he is a pretty main figure, when it comes to Dubai Airports, and he's going to be, overseeing a lot of these changes. Do you think he'll be here to cut the ribbon?
That's a great question. It is something that we asked Mr. Paul Griffiths. Obviously, he is a very well-known, very well-respected aviation veteran in the sector, both here in Dubai and globally. He's been overseeing Dubai airports through many major construction projects, and he says that the expansion of Al Maktoum will be the ultimate crowning glory for his very long career in aviation, and that he hopes to see it to fruition if all is well, and he's able to continue to do so.
Wonderful. What a way to go out on top. Right. Thank you so much for joining me, Dina.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of A Closer Look, brought to you from right here inside the Nationals newsroom in Abu Dhabi. Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to see any of our previous episodes, you can find them all on our YouTube channel.